here to tell you our Bible story today. As you know, we've been going through the book of Matthew and we've been finding out a lot more about who Jesus is, what he did while he was on earth, what he taught, and the reason why he came to earth. This whole last little while and for the next couple of weeks, we're going to be looking at how Jesus makes broken things new. And why does he do that? He can do that because he has authority over everything. Now, what does it mean when somebody has authority over something? It means that they have the power or the control or the ability to be able to make decisions or change things. They have the right and the power and the might to be able to do something about it. So, for example, we've talked about how our parents are usually an authority over us as children. When we're growing up, they have the right to be able to say what we can do and what we can't do. That is their right and their authority over us. Now, Jesus has authority over everything. He has authority over the earth, all of creation, the animals, the plants, the trees, the air, the waves, everything. Jesus has authority over everything on the earth, and he has authority over our bodies as well. He made them and he can heal them. Now, remember in the Old Testament, right long time ago, in the very, very beginning, right when God created everything, everything was perfect. Everything was good. And there was no brokenness in the world. There was no reason for Jesus to come and make broken things new because there was nothing broken in the world. Now, when Adam and Eve disobeyed God, when they sinned, when they chose their own way instead of following God's way, what it did is it brought brokenness or sin or separation from God into the world. And when that happened, a lot of destruction, a lot of bad things happen. Now people can get really sick, people get hurt, people die, animals eat other animals, like all of those things that happen in our world today. There's weeds that grow in our gardens and working is really hard. All of those things were never meant to be in God's perfect world. But because of sin coming into the world, we now have to deal with this brokenness. But this whole story, this whole thing that we've been talking about in the book of Matthew is that Jesus came to fix that brokenness because he has the authority, he has the power and the might to do that. We don't, but Jesus does. Isn't that amazing? It is such an amazing thing, but because he has the authority to heal bodies, we see him do that over and over again in the stories in the Bible. Today's Bible story is another one of those. One day Jesus was out at the synagogue where people were learning more about God and where people would gather to go to worship God. And once he was done there with the disciples, they went back to his friend Peter's house to get some rest and to probably have a meal. When they arrived there, the person that was living in the house, Peter's mother-in-law, was sick with a high fever. She was laying down in bed and wasn't making them the meal like they thought maybe she would be. When Jesus got there, he went over to her and he touched her hand. And when he touched her hand, he rebuked the fever. He said, "Go away, fever." And guess what happened? You're right. The fever went away. And I don't know about you, but when I'm sick, it takes me a little bit of time to recover. After being sick, it takes me a little while to get my energy back and wanting to do things or eat anything. It takes a little bit sometimes, but not in this story. When the fever went away from Peter's mother-in-law, she got up and she started making everyone a meal right away. She had the energy and the joy to be able, and the thankfulness to be able to serve the people food. She loved to serve, I think she loved to serve people food because that's what she did when she felt better. She served everyone a meal. Now, right after that, the whole neighborhood heard about what Jesus had done for Peter's mother-in-law, and guess what they did? They brought all of their sick people to Jesus. They brought anyone that was sick with anything to Jesus because Jesus can make broken things new. He can heal people. He can fix our bodies that are broken. He can fix our minds that are broken, our hearts that are broken. Jesus can do hard things that no one else can do. He can do miracles. Now, These stories are all from a very long time ago, aren't they? They're from when Jesus was on the earth as a man. Now that was a long time ago, but do you know something that is true? Jesus still can heal our bodies. We can pray and ask him to heal us, and he listens. Not all of the time people we know get better though. That's hard. That's one of those tricky things that I don't always know, and I can't wait to ask God about it one day in heaven, why some people get better and some people don't. I don't know that right now, but I do know that we can always ask Jesus to heal the people that we know that are sick. That's one thing that we can do. Jesus makes broken things new because he has authority to be able to do it. He has the power and the might. He is in control. He is the big boss over all things, including our bodies. He has the power and the might to heal. Wow, that is such an amazing story to me. There's so many different times in the Bible where Jesus goes and heals people. He makes sick people well, and it's just so amazing to me to see him do that. He always has compassion, which means he always feels love and hope and warming towards people that are feeling sick. He always healed them when he was there on the earth with them. If somebody came to him sick and they asked to be well, he made them well. That's how I know that Jesus cares about us and our bodies, and when we're sick, we can talk to him about that. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about is, of course, we can always pray for people that we know that are sick. But what are some other things that you can do when someone you know is sick? Well, we've talked about it a few times because a lot of the miracles that Jesus has done have been about people that were sick. We've talked about how we can make a card for someone. We can give, you know what, if it's somebody in your household and you're around them all the time right now, you can give them a hug. Sometimes that makes somebody feel a lot better when you give them a hug. You can send them a card like we talked about already. Maybe you and your family can make a meal for someone that isn't feeling very well. Just like in the story today where Peter's mother-in-law, when she felt better, she made a meal for people, and that was a really big blessing to people around her. Maybe you can plan to do something when that person is all better. You know what? There's so many different things that we can do for other people, and that is really lovely. And I hope that you can do those things. Pray for them and do something kind for someone that you know that is sick. I do have a different activity for us to do, and I'll show you in just a second in the next video. But for now, that's all I have for my story. Thank you so much for watching. I do miss all of you guys so much. I sure wish I was able to tell these stories to your faces and not to a camera, but I'm hoping that one day soon we'll be able to do that. But until then, I'll see you guys later. Bye! For our activity today, we are going to make a little reminder about how Jesus makes broken things new. So what I'm using today is an old toilet paper roll, and I'm going to turn this into Peter's mother-in-law. Now, you might be wondering, how am I going to turn a toilet paper roll into a person? Well, obviously I'm not really going to, but I'm going to use different materials to make it look like a person and then maybe build a bed. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to use some blue paper towel. I was thinking it could be like a blanket to wrap her up in. And I'm going to use some construction paper to give her some clothes and maybe some hair. And I'm going to use some markers to draw on a face. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll show you my finished product. All right, everyone. So I gave Peter's mother-in-law some hair. I just glued or taped some construction paper to the back of her, and I made her a dress out of orange construction paper. I drew a face on her. I made her a bed out of construction paper, and I used a paper towel as her blanket, but maybe you have some fabric or something that you can use. And I put her in here, and then to remember the story, I wrote on her dress something that is important to remember. Jesus makes broken things new. So that's our activity for this week. It's a good reminder for us to remember to ask Jesus if ever we need help with anything, especially when we're sick or somebody we know that's sick. We can always ask Jesus to make those broken things new. That's all I have for my story today. I hope you have a great day, everyone, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!